mean, I think that's everybody's dream to some degree at least, but not yet. I thought maybe, but I mean, in the next few years perhaps, but I just repositioned the company and bigger trajectory, bigger mountain to climb. Technology, I would say, is in the human connection. It's in the actual integration of how the 10 years of how I've operated the company and creating events with Red Bull and doing the stadium workout and creating the online version of Peloton or Ladder, gave me soccer as a vehicle to do that, and now it's just more about like fulfilling my purpose and being able to, bring some value to the field. Tough. I will say I'm the healthiest version of myself in Miami because I don't really go out. I mean, I say that because my birthday was like 2 weeks ago and I went out like a fucking degenerate, but like.
What's up, everybody? This is Simon on this episode of the Ideal Hour. Hi, Mike.
Hey, how's it going, man? Great to connect. Apologies for the game of cat and mouse, but great to connect, man.
No problem, man. It's I know how it is, and I completely understand. I know how it is. Don't stress off it.
I lived in Pleasanton. I'm from Fresno originally.
Yeah, I read that.
So
I read that.
So I would always do it was crazy, man. But my parents would drive me to the Bay Area twice a week, dude, during high school, man, for 2 years to play on a team in the Bay Area. It was psychotic, dude.
Really? From Fresno?
When I have kids, I'm sorry. Like, we're gonna go to a country club and either golf or tennis. Like, take your pick. Like, I'm not driving you all across. I say that now, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna do it, But yeah, man, I love the Bay, dude. Well, good for you guys. How'd you meet your wife?
Well, we met at a nightclub in San Francisco. It was a fun time. We were young, man. I was like 23. She was 18. And
how old are you?
42 now.
Yeah, bro. We're the same age, man. I'm just 41.
Yeah.
The old-fashioned way when you actually like talk to people.
Like bad decisions.
Start dancing up on them and stuff. I don't do it like that anymore, dude. Like, hey, let me text. You want to dance?
That's right. The way like you sip a little drink, you slowly creep. Just get a creep on in, and then they turn around, smell you. If you pass the smell test, you're good. You can like continue.
No, it was a look from the friend. The friend would be like, "All right, yeah, you're good," and then you go in, dude. My business partner. I'll connect you with him if you want to interview him too. But he, we were just talking about this the other day, man. He's a successful energy trader, and he's got like a racing company now. But anyways, man, yeah, dude. Well, great, man. What's
in Miami? How are you meeting people? In Houston, it's a complete opposite. It's a different thing. But in Miami, it's all over. Like, how do you guys? Staying single was probably the way to do it there.
Wow. Forgive me, bro. I've been on the move all day. I'm like so fucking hungry, man. Dude, just like a lot of like wellness. I mean, everything that I'm doing is like social wellness, right? Mm-hmm. It's like I think the world's like craving that more than anything. So I mean, there's cold plunges and wellness retreats and stuff like that. Not that I'm like, I want to go to this like speaker panel or do that, but just kind of getting in the mix of like these healthier experiences and finding like someone like you. It's like, okay, good guy, doing well, probably has a good network, and then you're doing an event. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go show up. And then it's just naturally just talking to people, right? But yeah, I think as you get older, I don't think this way, but I think maybe for others, it's like harder to meet friends. Cause I met like a buddy at a Soho bar, like just picked him up. We started talking golf, baseball. He's from the Bay, played ball at Davis, and he's one of my good buddies. But yeah, man, I mean, I just feel like it's being in good spots, right? So that way you're in Soho, kind of just like working. Not that like it's all about like what you do and how much money you have, but like as you get older, it's just like, okay, like you want to gravitate and resonate with people that are doing things that you want to do or align with who you are. But yeah, Miami's been tough. I will say I'm the healthiest version of myself in Miami because I don't really go out. I mean, I say that because my birthday was like 2 weeks ago and I went out like a fucking degenerate, but like, I mean, for the most part, I'm like, yeah, thanks. I've got like a good group of people that don't party. They're all into wellness and yeah, I just kind of get up early, go to bed early, and just kind of have fun. But I'll make some introductions for you. Some people that are out there. There's a really great guy. His name's Mark. He's like mid 40s, like early 40s actually. No, late 40s, sorry. But anyways, he's a really successful entrepreneur as well. He's been the good guy that I've plugged into that's made some good introductions. So then another buddy that I went to high school with is out there. He's in the startup game. He's a little bit crazier, but I got a few buddies that played soccer, some C-suite friends that I met from Inter Miami. So yeah, just picking and choosing, got a couple buddies from college that are out there.
Yeah, it's, I always say friendships, you don't, some people say, oh, you got to judge a friendship by years. You've known them. And that's really not the case. It's, you can meet someone tomorrow that's going to be a much better friend than the friend that doesn't want to see you climb up or lose or doesn't want to see you win, I should say. And past their prime, so to speak. So, I've met people that are like giving me some great advice that I've known for a week or two versus like people that I've known for years. It's incredible. I didn't, Mike, I didn't even introduce you in the beginning. So, editor, we're going to just mix this in. So let me quickly, this has been great. I love this spin even better. We're going to keep the spin like this. But everybody, this is Mike Chaballa. I pronounced it right.
Yeah, Chaballa. Yeah, that's it.
And Mike's a former MLS Pro 2-time champ with the Houston Dynamo and the Portland Timbers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's crazy. And he mentioned his dad would drive him around all the time to play soccer. Mm-hmm. So,
bless his heart. It was more my mom than my dad, but yeah.
Yeah, so your dad's smart. He was like, you take care of this. This is what I wanted to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my God. And then, as far as he's also an entrepreneur, built Spheres, like a soccer-inspired group fitness with good energy. I checked it out online, and you mentioned you're going to be exiting soon. You're selling the company, hopefully, or what?
I mean, I think that's everybody's dream to some degree, at least, but not yet. I thought maybe, but I mean, in the next few years, perhaps. But I just repositioned the company and bigger trajectory, bigger mountain to climb. Not necessarily ready to get off the ride yet, type of thing. If it happens, obviously, I think that's the goal, but. Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I started out with a business model that was inspired by SoulCycle Barry's boot camp, but a soccer version. So an adult fitness concept based around soccer fitness community. And, as entrepreneurship goes, as right, you start out with one idea, changes to another. Next thing you know, it still has the same ethos and idea around what you were trying to create, but it's more about like product market fit and trying to figure out the timing of your product and, creating value for others, while simultaneously trying to make money, right? And figure out how to go. And I was always creating, but I wasn't I wasn't as knowledgeable. I never had a job outside of soccer. Two, I never started a company before. So I just had like a huge learning curve. Plus I was struggling from myself, in terms of ego and, my own issues as a professional soccer player and the lack of work that I did on myself to understand the issues that I was bringing into the company. Which again, is still far from perfect, but definitely more aware. I say that in context just because it's helped me even through the ups, but also the downs to actually reflect internally as like an athlete and saying, oh, I fucked up. I made some massive mistakes. Not ones that were like detrimental to anybody's health or anything like that, but just like in a way that like, man, I could have avoided hurting people. I could have avoided like business doing this. I mean, again, usually a lot of entrepreneurs they don't do well on the first one, but they do well on the second one, right? Because you learn all the mistakes and you're much more efficient and effective and powerful. But I don't give up. So it's like, okay, let's fix this and let's make things right, but also make things work. And so through the 10 years of entrepreneurship, I've kind of pivoted from still the same thing, soccer inspired fitness. We've created different modules. The business model is essentially more like Zumba. So it's like a coaching certification. So we teach people how to go and run our programming for those that are interested in doing that. But what I really created was a solution set for a professional organization to do community-based activations around soccer, fitness, community, health, wellness. And so what I'm doing now is essentially almost like software as a service, SaaS. Mm-hmm. I'm calling it CAS, Community as a Service, and essentially helping professional organizations integrate our programming seasonally, cradle to grave, so that they can make money from sponsorships, partnerships, ticket sales, and increase in merch sales while, solving their grassroots marketing problem in a world that was once so digital heavy and now is, I would say, upside down, in terms of human connection and looking for, smaller, more intimate interactions with more meaningful connections.
So your software, is it still focused around soccer, or is it now, it could be kind of expanded? Because it's such an interesting concept of building community. And I would imagine these corporations got big bank to invest in such a community building,
Sure.
program. Is it still?
So I want to in context of just the conversation, there's really no technology. There's really no technology. The technology, I would say, is in the human connection. It's in the actual integration of how the 10 years of how I've operated the company and creating events with Red Bull and doing a stadium workout and creating the online version of Peloton or Ladder. Essentially, all these things I've done, and I stepped back over the past year once our biggest builder, community builder that was part of our company, my number 2 guy left, took the entire business in Austin, put another name on it, went and did his own thing. And I was like, talk to my business partner, do we sue him? Do we go after him? And I was like, you know what? There's more negative energy that comes from that rather than let's just focus on changing it and being positive, because he's not me, he's not our concept, and honestly he's not seeing the future the way I do, so it doesn't matter. Let's keep rocking. So, and I go back to the whole software and the aspects of the business. It's all of the tips and tricks, and more importantly, the things that I've learned to help all these people be able to implement a strategy and programming to go bring people together, because soccer exists, mini soccer fields exist, going to a public park exists, leagues exist, but nobody's done it in a view or a way around social non-competitiveness, fun, health, wellness. And so, yeah, I say that all in context about the technology piece is just that, as I'm putting this solution set together and also going through how am I going to scale myself, right? How am I actually going to share what I've done? Because obviously I can just keep running my own programs and make money, but my goal is to connect the world. So how am I going to create a vehicle large enough to win a Nobel, prize around connection and helping people really come together? And what you said was is this really just applicable to soccer? No, I don't. I think actually to every professional sports organization laterally, I think ones that are with a sphere, I think that all of them could be community thought leaders in their space around bringing people together. Yeah. But it's right now one direction. People just come to our stadium to be part of the team. They buy our gear, but in terms of grassroots and community outreach, I think it looks a little bit different these days. And that's what I'm putting together and finally going to market with.
Well, it's an interesting concept. And, it's kind of Barry's boot camp, fit in and let's get this going kind of thing. Soul Cycle. These are, big,
massive companies.
Yeah.
Massive companies. Imagine Soul Cycle, was working with Tour de France or something, right? To create micro centers for riders to come together. Right. But it was from that angle, I guess. Anyways, the world's just completely changed. Boutique fitness from when I first started in 2015 was inspiration to be in that cycle and circuit. We went through the pandemic, right? So now you're looking at companies like Peloton or Mir and Ladder now. And now you're looking at a completely new world of community-based activations like cold plunging and run clubs, right? Yoga's always been there. It will forever be an easy way in for people, but the market's just changed. People are looking for third doors and they're looking for more human connection. And if you look at professional organizations, they're not the thought leader anymore, or they should be in their space. And I think that's what I've really realized in terms of what I've built, which has been giving me a lot of clarity in terms of the product that I've created and the market of who I'm solving this problem for. And these organizations is, helping them to kind of catch up to where the times are, because I think people are trying to figure out how to position themselves in this new world, and with AI creeping in and taking over in so many ways. I don't know, last of the Mohegans, but it's I kind of feel like our goal is to keep human connection alive, going, because at the end of the day, that's what we all crave, right? So as much as the digital strategies are always going to be there and acquiring new customers, how do you actually have them attached to your brand and feel an actual like sentiment towards your company. And that's by you creating an experience for them to actually latch onto.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, no, it's, people are lonelier than ever, especially with all these social platforms and the way people connect now.
Dating apps.
Yeah, dating apps. Like I recall you asked how I met my wife, but when dating apps first came out, like 20 years ago or whatever it was, I was at a bar and I remember my buddies, they're like swiping, right? Like, I guess it was Tinder or whatever. And I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? They're like swiping on these girls. I'm like, bro, you're at a bar, go talk to somebody. Like, you know what I mean? It's so funny. And now everything's like it.
I mean, that's the crazy, scary part. I mean, I don't have kids yet, but like the world that they're going to grow up in.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were at a dinner table, iPads, like you're talking to adults, you're sitting there having conversations and engaging, and now it's so easy for us just to look down. And as a soccer player, my analogy is for life. I mean, you can't play the game if you can't get your head up. So, and same thing at a bar. I mean, how are you going to score? Literally, if you can't go and talk to that girl and get your head up because you're down here looking at your phone, hoping that she's going to respond to you, right? So, anyways, yeah, I feel like God put me on this earth to help people connect, and gave me soccer as a vehicle to do that, and now it's just more about like fulfilling my purpose and being able to bring some value to the field.
Let's talk about MLS. I mean, it's a growing sport. I mean, ever since David Beckham, I don't know if you know him or met him or whatever.
Yeah.
He brought in Messi to Miami. That was like a wow move. Apple signed on after that, so it became a huge broadcasting thing, a big power move, and also raised your real estate prices in south of Florida. Just that tension. Where do you see MLS going, and how hard was it to really get into the MLS, and how hard is it to become a professional soccer player nowadays? Is it like impossible almost, or what?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely changed significantly the landscape, like anything in life. To become a pro soccer player now, the pathway looks a lot different. Again, our league started top down, where the rest of the world is bottom up. So you go into an academy and you work your way up through the academy system to then become like a player for the first team. Whereas like our league started 30 years ago or so, they just built, 5, 10 pro soccer teams, paid players to be there. And then they've been working slowly to create, a layered approach. And then obviously the goal is to groom players that come up into your first team, et cetera. And you're starting to see this happen now, like in Philadelphia. They're very forward in their approach and communication about like their club is all about selling players. It's a business, and developing them and then being able to distribute them around the world. Anyways, as far as like how arduous it is to play Major League Soccer, I mean, it's never been more competitive. Even though there are 30 plus teams in the league, it's going into a vertical system, which is like relegation, like the rest of the world, you kind of have like your top tier and then, the top three from the bottom tier go up, the top three go down. So it becomes like really competitive in a lot of ways. I think it was very challenging for Major League Soccer to figure that structure out because you have owners buying teams for 500 plus million now.
It's crazy.
Whereas they had this the way that the dynamic of the league was set up, it didn't encourage a small team from a second division, how much do you have to actually pay to get in? But because there's so much competition, because the league is growing, because there's not really much room to grow into these new markets, how do you continue to keep expanding? So that's where you're seeing North America hosting the World Cup from Mexico and Canada. How do we, create teams that are in Vancouver and Montreal and Toronto that are playing in MLS? And, who knows? Like Mexico is very, independent, but obviously you're seeing a lot of tournaments that overlap. So in terms of the competition, you have a lot of players that are coming over from international spots that are getting green cards pretty quickly. And they're kind of passing them out like candy in a way that now takes away from domestic spots, right? From the normal college player. So you're gonna start to see the college game change. It's just that the money isn't exactly there yet. So my first contract was maybe 17,000. Guys going in the league now is like 78,000.
That's it for the year?
bro, for the year. When I first started, it was $17,000, man.
That's crazy.
I mean, they told you when you signed up, like, you got to go get a job or get a loan to play professional soccer.
Hey, who was running it? Dana White or what? I'm just kidding.
No, man. Listen, I'm telling you, there's a reason why, like, you know, I mean,
yeah, no, but I get it. I mean, I think MLS started with like people had second jobs when MLS kind of started. What I would imagine, right?
So there was a league before,
okay,
and so like the NASL days, like like there that was kind of the thing. I would still say that a lot of guys did in a way. Obviously, cost of living and inflation and stuff like is a little bit different than what it is now, but. Yeah, I mean, literally, guys. I mean, even myself. Like, I mean, I played online poker, which saved my butt for like probably the first couple of years. That helped me. But yeah, I mean, as far as like Messi goes, and the transition of the league and Beckham coming into it. Look, every single international player from Ibrahimovic, Gerrard, Beckham, now Messi, have all played a massive part in bringing more attention to the league. It was a little bit, I would say, skewed because it looked like a retirement league rather than like a very innovative, up and coming, talented league to be a part of. And, as like the level of play is growing, money is growing, attendance is growing. Yeah, it's attractive for a mid-tier guy to say, yeah, I'd rather go give it a shot in like the US versus like a mid-tier Italian team or Spanish team. And, like, let's go explore those options. And obviously it's helped that like the US has players now playing in like international football clubs, and that are like more so than just what was in the past. It was only like a handful. So I think the league is in a tough spot though, because when you look at, behavior of consumers and you look at challenging competition like Savannah Bananas for baseball, and you look at the rival league for women's basketball or High Rocks that's challenged CrossFit, right? You're looking at like even Kings League, which is in Europe, which is a like small-sided indoor arena experience that Gerard Piqué played for Barcelona has created to challenge the world of like the normal traditional sport because of this younger generation that is following their favorite YouTuber, TikToker. And so again, where are those eyeballs going? And that's where money is going to be flowing. So I think that there's only so many more deals that the MLS can do in terms of equity and deals like Beckham's to offer like an expansion team for 25 million or Messi and giving him equity in the Apple deals. And also like how many more international superstars, right?
It's just Ronaldo who's might be leaving.
But like, again, like on that global scale, but how many Mr. Beasts are there? How many Speeds are there? How many of these, like, I don't even know these YouTubers and TikTokers are there, right? So that begs the opportunity to have a conversation, around what's next, right? And that's also part of the solution set that I'm creating for the league, but also where I think that there's an opportunity in football, which I think Gerard Piqué, there's another league in Germany with Praus that he created, called Baller League. I think it's Baller League. But point is, I think that the league is going to need to be very creative. I think the vertical system is going to be there. I think soccer will always have its place, but I do think that there's an emerging space for something creative that's more, I'd say, interactive and even experiential that I think is much different than what our normal traditional games look like. Now, don't get me wrong, like there's some of these NFL stadiums that are almost like a nightclub and NBA, right? And
Las Vegas MLS just is trying to, one.
Right. Yeah, you're like, you got to create a great fan experience. And you're seeing that from Savannah Bananas, a baseball circus concept, right? And I think that that's coming for soccer soon.
But Inter and Miami, aren't they building a new place or new stadium getting approved? That's probably going to level
It's already
up.
done. Like it'll be ready. I think in a year. Like if you fly into Miami, like it's coming along. I don't know exactly the ETA, but it's definitely coming along. And yeah, I mean Miami will be. I know that they have a little mini soccer field that's going inside of it. I know that they're trying to be creative with like a nightclub, and I know that Staples Center was like a good example of like innovation and creativity and really making that to the max, which I think soccer is not too far behind. Obviously, attendance is much different, and popularity still is not there.
What's the costs for? I've never been to one. I mean, I went to a Barcelona game when I was in Barcelona. That was intense. Nice. I mean, the stadium, everything. It was just. I don't know if you've ever been, but that was such an experience. And
I haven't been to Barcelona yet. No.
Walking.
How much is a ticket?
Yeah. How much is? Well, I don't remember. We paid a lot for the ticket. This was years back when my wife and I went. But how much is a ticket in Miami now, or a general soccer ticket? Is it like the Heat game, or is it? It's getting up there, huh? To see Messi.
Yeah, probably like 100 to 300. I bet. Yeah. And I mean, they're every game is sold out for them because of Messi right now in their lineup. So. Depending on seat and location, it probably could be
bank. How many years? How many years do you think Messi has left? You think he's still gonna go, or?
Yeah, I think definitely through the World Cup for sure. I think it's just like at some point in time you get, he's just tired, right? I mean, he's got a family, he's got kids, and I don't know. Like Cristiano Ronaldo's like, I want to play with my son. Like, hey, hold on, Dad. Like, keep going. I mean, let's challenge the
quota.
The human body, and how long, you can stay at the top of your game. Again, Cristiano and Messi are two different human beings with, two different DNAs and the way that they take care of themselves. I don't know. I mean, Cristiano's like a machine, he's very proud of like his regimen routine. I don't know what Messi's is like, but yeah, I hope for the game he stays in as long as possible. But at some point in time, just like Beckham, you kind of know like, hey,
this is it.
Your body's done, your mind's done. But again, these guys there's a guy playing I think he's playing in Japan in the J League, I think he's in his 50s.
Oh, wow.
Like it's actually pretty crazy. Let me see. I'll Google it. Oldest soccer pro. Yeah, as 𝐒𝐢𝐦𝐤𝐞 𝐂𝐢𝐤𝐤, Japanese striker. He's 58, bro.
Jesus. Oh my God.
Just type it in, man. Japanese striker.
I'm gonna pull him up. Editor, pull him up, put him up there, put him up on the display.
It's pretty cool.
I think it's awesome. It's like get busy living or get busy dying. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you gonna do? Let me ask you. You're a professional athlete, obviously. You still stay in shape. Not only to compete in the Miami or whatever dating scene, because everybody out there looks to be in shape every time I visit, but a lot of these athletes that stop, are they like your buddies? Are they still in shape, or a lot of them let themselves go, man?
50-50. I think the ones that are healthy mentally stay in shape and are like, it's part of their routine. And the other ones, I think everybody deals with depression and stress differently. Some could be, self-medicating, drugs, sex, but food obviously is the other part of it too. And you get older, like you're just used to your body being a machine. You're just like, you couldn't eat enough calories, right? And so, the sports science behind the game is so different now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say 50-50, man. We just had our alumni reunion in Houston. There's about 20-ish, 25 guys maybe that showed up. And honestly, everybody looked pretty good. Like everybody was like relatively fit and active. I think maybe it happens to some where they're just like, I don't know.
Life gets in the way.
Life gets in the way and stuff. But yeah, I'd say it's 50-50. I knew myself. I was like, I got to do something fitness related for my job because I need to stay in shape and have a reason to go work out every day.
You had all that energy.
Yeah.
What you mentioned earlier, your mom drove you to the soccer practices and so forth. Like, what truly inspired your passion in soccer in the beginning? Was it your first sport? I know this is is Sphere your first company too?
Yeah, God inspired me. I was like most kids, 4 years old, playing my first little soccer game, that every single kid gets put into. Did your kids play soccer? Did you put them in
the daughters did, and I loved it. We would yell, then
yeah, it's just like, like the little bunch ball running around, 4 years old. It's like they got the you know, the little cleats on. And, dude,
but then
it's so cute. Right?
We got like warnings to be quiet. It was like silent day on the sidelines. I don't know why. That's so boring.
Nah, that's bullshit, dude.
Yeah.
Parents too sensitive, man, these days. But anyways,
yep.
God just touched me and put this burning desire, man, for the game, the ball, and I just couldn't get enough of it, man. Like I remember laying out my cleats, shin guards, socks, shorts, jersey, night before, legs up on the wall, visualizing myself playing, like couldn't even sleep. I was so freakishly excited, getting in fights for the soccer ball, kindergarten and recess. Cause like, I had to practice, I had to kick it. I mean, it was just something that you just can't describe. Like, I mean, I was obsessed with it. So yeah, anyways, that was the trigger for me. And then of course, like once I transitioned or was transitioning from soccer, I mean, just as like a soccer player, you know, you're like problem solving and trying to figure out, you know, like what are my strengths, weaknesses, what available passes do I have in terms of contacts, relationships, right? Like, you know what feels good, you know what doesn't feel good, when a pass is right, when it's not right, when a game doesn't feel good, like just all those like instincts. And then it was, okay, you know, just problem solving and figuring out how to position myself, which I would also say was like, again, like for me and my faith and just being able to help me align with my journey. And you know, you don't know what you don't know, but it's also like as an entrepreneur, I don't know for yourself, like how you, like I didn't go to school for entrepreneurship. I was like economics, finance. Like I didn't have an entrepreneurial father or really, quite frankly, anybody in my ecosystem, my family. I mean, dude, literally my aunt and uncle, super successful, love them to death. Aunt's in, you know, insurance, commercial insurance. And my uncle has like he actually has his own manufacturing label company, but he bought it. He works for Joss News and Sales, but he was just they're like, hey, like, let's get you into wealth management. Let's get you into, you know, insurance sales, like some type of like sales, like job. And I went to go freaking do it, dude. And I was like, no, like, no.
I'm glad you didn't do it. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but like once you get typecasted into that, it's you know, the creativity kind of goes out of the window, and then I would feel depressed. I don't know.
I did once I finished playing, I needed a job. I didn't have any money, so I went to Morgan Stanley and did 3 months to pass my Series 7. Actually, I did private equity. They wanted me to start like a wealth management or work on their wealth management side. I failed my Series 7 twice. I mean, I got paid for 6 months, which was like helping me live, but I literally was struggling mentally. I, you know, was still trying to play, and simultaneously I started kind of like doing Sphere like stuff, and got to a place where I you know, knew I needed a job. I was like starting to moonlight Sphere, and so I knew the Texans owner, and he gave me a job brokering natural gas. He actually offered me like a really sick position, like $400K type contract to be like a general manager of like the gas space, where big I would know both sides. Like, yeah, I would know everybody that's a trader. I would know the brokers, like really being like hands-on networking.
It's
really
like
great at developing relationship.
The show Landman. Have you seen that? Dude,
yeah.
Big stuff.
Yeah. So it's just like, I mean, literally, I wouldn't be talking to you right now if I got that job, you know, because at 29, 30, 31, I would have been making $300K. Like, dude, that would have been like game over. Like I would be, you know, probably really overweight and, you know, golfing and drinking every single day. So anyways, whatever, all relative, but I couldn't sit still, man. I did that too. From that job, actually, the guy that was vetting me saw the contract and took it from me. And so then the owner was like, hey, I'm really sorry. This guy's going to take it. He's probably more equipped for it. Like, let's just get you trading. I ended up meeting, you know, one of my best friends, business partner, who invested in the company like a year later. And, you know, he's been funding it with me for, you know, a few years now, several years now. But again, I wouldn't have had that opportunity if, you know, my old boss, the owner, he actually paid me to leave because he saw me every day working on my computer. He saw what I was doing on my, you know, you can see what I'm working on when I'm not like trading. And he's like, dude, look, you need to go pursue this. And so he paid me to leave. Otherwise, I probably would have kept like the $100,000+ contract I was getting, you know, and would have wrote it out as long as I possibly could.
But, creating Sphere, what have you learned as an entrepreneur? We talk to a lot of entrepreneurs. Like, what are some advice you would give to other people starting out? And it's crazy because this is your first one. Usually when people start out their first company, as you mentioned, they don't know anything. This is not taught in school. What would you give someone out there trying to start a business, whether it's in health or even in just any company, really?
Man, I ask for help. I think is the first thing, because unless you went to school as for entrepreneurship and you've read every startup book and feel like, okay, no, I really got this, then okay, you probably need a co-founder that's probably the opposite of you. So there's an integrator and a visionary, or there's a technical co-founder, and then there's again, like, just complementing, right? The best thing for me is, like, I didn't know what I was signing myself up for. So I had no idea. I kind of had an idea just hearing from people, and, 7 years, 10 years, face in the dirt, in the trenches. I really didn't understand it. Now I really do. But anyways, I think that the best thing that you could do, or the best things that I've learned, is, one, to be humble, and to accept when you don't know the answer, and to ask for help and to go seek and find it. I think that's a really big part of entrepreneurship. Always be in integrity, right, with your relationships. And there's the whole, like, don't date anybody in the office. There's like, don't lying. Like, there's just full transparency, right? I think you always need to be in integrity, not only for your team, but also for your customers, right? And keeping them up to speed with what you're building and what's going on. And again, again, my own experiences were based off of transitioning from soccer, and was basically doing like this company to stroke my own ego rather than make money, right? So it's really understand your product. Like, hey, what am I selling? And and again, I wouldn't be having this conversation and be doing what I'm doing if I just got a brick and mortar and, like, really. Literally right before the pandemic, I was in a lease, was like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. I didn't even know what the classes were going to look like yet. But then over that time, I was able to, like, develop. So I also think, timing is everything too. But I think that the best thing you could do is, like, really surround yourself with a good team, figure out the people that are really important for your success, and then really take time to develop, what that strategy and structure is. So that way you're in a good spot. But, like, when you're starting, you kind of have to, like, throw yourself into it and get going, in my opinion. Like, if you're going to start something from scratch, scratch from dirt, like a product that doesn't exist. Obviously, if you're going to make a planner or get a cup, like, a CPG, like a new coffee, like, there's probably a playbook to follow. But starting something like net new that doesn't exist, and
that's
really,
what you did.
Like, literally, like, say you're going to go start like dude, I don't even know, man, like a underwater running company that, like, I don't even know, dude. Dude, it's, yeah.
There's no proven concept, is what you're saying, to your point.
Yeah.
Like, it's tough to follow any blueprint, or even the past company's mistakes or wins, and then really polish that up. People always, entrepreneurs come on and say, hey, study the competition and just be better than that, and watch your overhead. That's a big one.
I think getting a mentor, I think cash flow is king, right? So how much runway do you need? You don't even know too. It's just like understanding that, to have somebody that can be like, hey, we're running out of cash, or like, we need to raise, or I think that's just like a big part to it. But there's just so many different pieces, man. I'd honestly tell somebody, don't do it. Like, if you're not really clear,
get the oil job.
Or at least moonlight and have two different candles burning, so that you can do both, right? So that way you're not putting so much pressure. Because for me, again, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, but I also sacrifice time and a relationship, or kids and a family, and probably health to some degree, just because of, like, the dedication and time that I invested into what I've been building. But that comes with a sacrifice too, and a price tag. So I think everybody's different based off of where they're at. And I think really being honest with themselves, because I literally committed to myself, like, I'll never quit. and I'm willing to sacrifice a family or relationship to like really see this thing through and to
give it the attention it needs. I mean, the business needs that.
So it's a relationship times 100, right?
Well, luckily you're a man, so you can meet someone and have a family. There's no biological kind of clock in some aspect of it, which is pretty. The female entrepreneurs I have on, they worry about the same thing, but they literally have a time ticking clock in their bodies, which is crazy. But you're right, man. It's a grind, and if you're not ready for the grind, it's like, what's the point? What's the point of doing it? And sacrifice is huge. Do you still play soccer as well, like for fun, or?
In the sessions, I'll jump in. There's an occasional game that gets put together by like some former teammates and some executives, just like just kind of more of like a networking fun thing by actually a friend that's from Barcelona. Not much, man. Honestly, not much. I rather hit the gym and weights and do my runs or yogas and stuff. But I mean, I love it. I definitely miss it at times, but I don't want to get hurt, and I also like
your knees. You never know.
Yeah, but I mean, but I'll say like in the concept of our classes, I'll jump in and participate.
How big are the classes typically? How many people do you get in there?
It just depends on the different experience. I mean, one field that like a typical, like it's the size of a basketball court, maybe a tennis court, but there's usually like 21 people max on one field, depending on the different class that you're facilitating or, experiencing. But again, I've created so many different modules. So like a stadium workout at NRG could probably hold like 5,000 people for like one of the workouts that we created. We've done a couple hundred in Houston. So it's just depends, but usually like at like one practice, like 15 to like 25 on average for like somebody running a class.
Have you thought about partnering with like Inter Miami and having a interactive sphere experience in their new stadium? How does that work? Is it tough to partner with anybody or?
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, I'm doing it now. Like I've hopefully have a deck and ready to send out some term sheets, some pricing agreements to like Houston and Dallas team. I'm working with them first just because I think I have a little bit of grace because I've worked with them in the past. But I mean, I literally did that exact what you're saying. I went to Dallas, created an experience. They didn't partner with me, but they were watching it. And then good. Houston, I was really fortunate because obviously I played for the team and I was like, I want to run the experience for you on Saturday. Like I forced my way into actually leading the experience and then showcase what that looked like. And then they're like, okay, we want more of this. So yeah, I'll do the same thing with the rest of the World Cup markets this year. That's like the business plan is to get into agreements with every 11, at least in the US. And then after that, I'll be in a position to like global scale, once we kind of productize everything, SOPs, have a good team and understand how to integrate.
You mentioned, you're not going to give up on this. You're not the type that quits. What's the perfect scenario here? Is it an exit? Is it this being bought out? Is it going global? Like, what's your dream when you close your eyes and everything went perfect?
Man, I mean, my goal is to win a Nobel Peace Prize. Like, I really want to be responsible for helping human connection and peace and connection on this earth. I want to make it a better place by bringing it closer together. I feel like if I close my eyes from a exit or just transition, I would love to be just a board of directors. I don't want to be a CEO or don't have that ego. I have to be that guy type of thing. I'd rather have other people that are really talented and smart and replace myself. I love Richard Branson, love all the businesses and his dynamic of what he's created. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to be able to share this programming at least with every single professional soccer organization around the world and let them integrate and have a vehicle to help adults connect and, live a healthier, more active life.
That's great. You mentioned a lot of names in the past and having some connections. Is the company funded, or did you ever get funding for it, like a Series A, et cetera? Or it's all bootstrapped by you?
Okay. It was bootstrapped, and then liquidated my 401k, like all my savings.
So you invested a lot.
Everything, like literally like everything. And then I took on like a couple of early investors and a business partner too. So there's been like 3 investors I think total over the past 10 years. And I think over like, that 10 years, the amount of money is, I mean, it's a lot, but it's not in terms of like, probably the amount of money that's raised for certain companies. But again, I think a lot of this was, I mean, you didn't expect a pandemic, you kind of start with one idea and then it transitions to another. And then, the market's changing, the world's changing. And you're like trying to figure out, like, people love it. There's a market for it. The global game's growing. It's just like, what is the final product that we can actually operationalize around and productize? Because I was also a service-based business, which is like the biggest thing, right? Like I didn't know this, but I was running myself into the ground, running experiences, paying coaches to lead my practices and our concept, and flying to Indianapolis because somebody couldn't make it. I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? Like,
stretching yourself thin.
It was impossible. Like, we had 200 plus contractors at one point in time. Like, we were in theory like 60 cities with gear everywhere, and it just got to a place like, this is impossible. Like, I'm just like wasting money, spending it, trying to track people. I'm losing my mind.
You're babysitting some of these coaches because they're not as responsible, I would imagine.
No. And it was great, but it was like, it was a bit of a facade. Like, it looked really great. We were riding this incredible high with great leaders, but it was based off those leaders. And it took, again, like the biggest leader to turn on us and leave for me to go, whoa, hold on a second. Like, again, like, I give everything credit to God, but like also just like my athletic background and experience of going, okay, this broke down. Like, why? Like, what's wrong with this situation? Like, what's the business plan around this, or the modeling that, and then what would work? And this is going back to other modules and other business models. I mean, there's only so many models. You can make up whatever, but at the end of the day, it's like, what are you, service-based? Are you product? Like, are you brick and mortar? Are you doing a certification online? Like, so anyways, like, are you SaaS? So just understanding some different options and trying to figure it out. And always, like, I've always had, I'm a very optimistic and positive person, but I'm always thinking like worst case scenarios, right? Like, how do I keep this ball rolling? Like, what do I do to ensure like success? Like, what do I need to do to, like, if everybody left me tomorrow, like, what would I do? Right. And so I hate to say, like, I told you so to myself, but like, I kind of saw this coming like 5 years ago, and whatever, went through the steps. But like, where I thought like worst case scenario would be was like kind of like where we're at. I'm like, okay. I didn't see the professional side. I knew it was there, but I didn't know how I was going to get there, and I didn't know what it was going to look like to integrate. And it's cool to see the market change, the opportunity now presenting itself, and now it's just more about execution and action of like getting a deal done with their first club, and then iterating it to a place where we can share it with everybody else.
Sometimes it takes a complete derailment to just really get on the right path and not be stagnant or stale. And it sounds like that's what's happening or happened, and that's a good thing. That means you could redo everything from scratch and really zone in on what's going to be profitable to you, and really make sense. And also, I think entrepreneurs beat themselves into the ground trying to really get everything going, or other people to do their job. And it's like the most stressful. You're better off having a smaller team that's efficient and really just having some time to yourself to work on other things that you want. Let me ask you, if is something a little more lighter, dream soccer team or your favorite soccer team you could play for anyone in the world during your prime or not? Who are you going to play for?
I didn't mention this though, but my goal is to own the Houston Dynamo too. But,
really? Okay.
My childhood dream team was Chelsea. Like, that was Chelsea. Yeah, I got to see them like train and play in Seattle when they came over, which was really cool. But anyways, love them, love the team. And I don't think I was, I always wanted to play pro. I grew up kind of playing in Europe for a while, but I felt like my my journey was in the States, because I knew I always prided myself on being an athlete, but I was really more excited and proud of like what I was doing off the field. Like I didn't want to just be just like an athlete. I was like, I want to be an academic. I want to be an entrepreneur or a business owner, or I want to do something. I don't know what it is, but I rather stop early rather than later. So it all works out. But
Houston Dynamo, are they for sale, or where do you think you're going to buy them at?
I think that I'm going to help save the team. I think that they're in a tough spot. And I say this lovingly because I would tell it to the owner and anybody else in the organization. And I think they know it too. I think they've been looking for like a solution set and something to help their club. And I feel like this is going to be it. So however I structure this deal, I mean, whether it's like a point or something, I want to get on the cap table, but I definitely plan on helping the club, and, whether I have to buy it at full value or whether I, get in,
That's cool.
I feel like the club is not worth what was paid for. What
did it sell for last time? Do you know?
I think like 440, maybe 450, 450 million. I just think that the club has come a long way, but I also think I don't think the league or the commissioner will ever let any owner sell the team. Like Vancouver's on the market. There's a lot of people that want to get into the league, but based off of due diligence and valuations, it's hard to get the numbers that they're talking about based off of where the businesses are at. So.
I see. And the motto and kind of the growth. But to your point earlier in the podcast, I think trading players, or what you called selling players, kind of for short terms, I think that will grow even the international influence and the expansion of it.
You have to get the academy and the club system right though too, because you got to really start developing these athletes and signing them early. So the better job you can do in just coaching and training, this person up, then
hyping them.
Yeah, of course, man.
It's like the UFC motto. I mean, they create these or WWE. They create the characters and the players, and then all of a sudden everyone wants to watch them. All right. Well, Mike, one more question. You go back. Well, actually, I got two questions. If you could pick a squad or like top 5 players on your team, or even back then, today, it doesn't matter. Who would like someone you want to play with would be, who are these guys? And it could be your ex-teammates.
Yeah. I mean, no, if I could do like a 5-a-side team, like 5-on-5 or something, just, I don't know, I would definitely have to say Beckham, just because he was my favorite player. Like we're like 1 degree separated. I'm going to get him working in our company, or like invest or be part of it if at some point in time, even if I work with him in Miami. 𝐒𝐢𝐦𝐿𝐦, I just love like his bravado and confidence. Probably have to say, Cristiano. And I would say Messi too, because he's a GOAT. And, like a Ronaldinho, I think would also be really cool, just because of how creative and fun. Again, like
there's so many, but that's a good list.
Yeah. I feel like now my intention would be much different than like what are they doing off the field, right? So Beckham, Cristiano, like
business side.
I think Messi, just because of who he is and where he's at, right? And like, probably Gerard Piqué from Barcelona, just because of what he's doing with Kings League. So like, I would do it more strategically from business and be like, hey, like Cristiano, like you're doing Whoop. Like, let me show you what we're doing with Sphere. How do we integrate it? Beckham, like, I know that you're an entrepreneur. Like, this is what I'm doing. I think you should best be the face. Cool. Messi, we want you to be the guy that's like a spokesmodel and running it. Right. So yeah, I've already kind of thought it through. That's how I would.
That's the way you'd play. Yeah, that's the way you'd pitch it. That, man, if you get one of those guys on board, that's all it really takes. And then boom, that's how it blows up, the same way.
Remember this podcast. We'll pull it up and go, Mike, you literally called it. You got Beckham, you got Messi, you got Cristiano, like,
dude, and
PK.
If you do that, I'm coming to work for you.
What's that?
When you do that, I'm coming to work for you.
I mean, whenever you're ready, bro.
I'll be ready. It's whether it's Houston and we'll have to manage a team, or whether we're, in Miami or wherever you want to do it. That'd be great. All right. One more question for you, Mike. I asked everybody, if you could go back in time to your younger self and give yourself a piece of advice, what would that be?
I think that what's coming up for me right now is don't be so hard on yourself, right? Like always be the most positive coach in your mind. And yeah, I think it's like just, constantly continuing to keep like, seeking the best version of yourself. And I think at the end of the day, we get distracted or we lose focus, but like, what matters the most is, that you're operating at your best self and, contributing to the world in the most powerful and positive way. And, I think that, we're all out here playing our own game, and it's just like, how do you play the best for your own and not comparing yours versus somebody else's? Because
that's tough.
Again, comparison is a thief of joy, and it's just being able to just stay aligned with who you are and listening to your internal compass and, that gift that we've been given, and to be able to like stay true to yourself and keep moving forward.
Great advice, man. Definitely, to your point, never compare. You're just going to drown yourself because there's always a bigger fish, so to speak. And there you have it, guys. Mike Chaballa, former MLS champion, founder of the Sphere, turning these workouts into fun experiences in a community aspect. Wish you nothing but the best, Mike. Thanks for coming on the Ideal Hour and spending some time dropping some really good advice. We appreciate you, man.
Yes, I'll be in touch, man. Enjoyed speaking with you. Good luck, and I'll see you on the pitch, my man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Peace. Bye, Mike.